Hello traders, Rich here, and here's a quick but detailed update on Apple. As usual, if you guys like video analysis, let me know in the comments or simply leave a like. So let's get started. As we can see, Apple has been overall bullish for a while, right? So price is making higher highs, pushing price to the upside and small corrective. Big impulse pushing price to the upside and small corrective and so on. So we are currently in a clean uptrend, and when we have a clean uptrend, that doesn't have to happen always. We can see that the corrective movement would end when price approaches the previous high. So let me zoom out. So the highs acts as a potential short-term support areas. So big impulse, price made a high, then corrective, then price broke the previous high, made a new high. Then as you can clearly see, price rejected the previous high, and we can see this pattern. It's a classic market structure 101. We can see that this pattern repeats itself all over again. So price made a new high, retests the previous high, and we had the next impulse. And let me show you one last example. Here we go, and that's it. All right, so price made a high, broke it upward, retest, and then we had the next impulse movement. So if we zoom in, we can see that we also have this one now. It's not a classic retest, break retest like before, but I just gave you like a quick glimpse to get an idea of why we're looking for buy setups now. So price made a high, then made a corrective movement, then made a small high. So which means that the buyers aren't strong enough to push price as strong as they were before. So big impulse, small corrective, big impulse, small corrective, but here we had a smaller impulse than usual, which means that the buyers aren't strong to push price like they were pushing before to make this big impulse. So that's why we can expect a reversal from here, but in this case, sorry about that, but in this case, price has to break below the previous low, because we would be in an uptrend unless the previous low is broken downward. So higher lows, and here we go. If price breaks this one downward, then we can say that we might have a shift in momentum from a long-term perspective. But meanwhile, until this happens, and especially that we also have the round number 100, and we also have a very strong rejection areas here. We do have a supply, we do have this gap, which acts as a short-term support area. So it's a very, very interesting area to look for. So meanwhile, until this happens, price breaks it downward, we would be looking for buy setups. So starting from here, we're looking for buy setups, knowing that price can still go down a little bit to get more liquidity before going up, unless, as mentioned previously, price breaks below this entire area downward. We can say that we have now a major shift in momentum. So let me draw this one now. And as mentioned before, it's a very strong area, including round numbers, demand, and previous support. But I'll keep it as a level now, just to make our chart cleaner. Okay. And the reason why we are looking for buy setups from here is because we have, just like I showed you before, we have a classic break and retest. So here we go. Right. So price made a high, broke it upward, and it's now retesting it. So that's why we're looking for buy setup starting from here, knowing that price can still go down, test this area before going up, right? And even, let me make this one in, for example, green, right? And let's make it appear on lower time frames, of course, H1, perfect. Just before we continue, I want to share the good news. I recently had a deal with PrimeXBT for you guys to benefit from discounts and bonuses. When you create an account, simply go here, promo code, and copy and paste this one. I also included in the description below. And you will get a 50% bonus on your first deposit, or signal is 25, and you will get 25% discount on your trading fees. Moreover, they do have a very interesting feature, which is called convesting, where you can copy other traders. So for example, you like this one who has very good results and daily profits, simply click on follow and you will copy every single trade that he takes. If you don't have an account yet, I will make sure to include the link in the description below. And let's continue. If we zoom into daily time frame, we can see that if we zoom out a little bit, that now Apple is trading inside the channel. I know this trend line is not very typical, but it's just for overall direction. If we make an offset, we can see that we also have like a channel forming. Of course, we can always make it touch the previous highs. So this trend line would act as an overbought area. So for now, let's take it step by step. For now, we'll be looking for buy setups here, since we have this green minor support, and we have also this brown trend line. So the setup is acting as a trend following setup, especially that Apple is overall bullish from a long-term perspective. That's why we're looking for buy setups here. We're looking, right? And I insist on the word looking. Don't sell, don't buy immediately. Don't try to catch the exact tops and bottoms, unless, as mentioned before, price makes it downward and a retest till here. This entire zone, as mentioned before, would be expected. In this case, we'll be looking for new buy setups to form. But let's take it step by step. For now, we'll be looking for buy setups. That's why we zoom into lower time frames to look for extra confirmation and trigger. If we zoom into H1 time frame, let me zoom in. We can see that here we go. We were in a downtrend in a short-term perspective from H1, from a short-term perspective. So price broke above the previous high. We are now in an uptrend. Price is making higher highs and higher lows, and until the previous low is broken downward, we would be in an uptrend, right? So higher lows, right? And here price broke below the previous low. So we are now in a downtrend, in a potential downtrend, of course, because we don't rely solely on just highs and lows of broken upward or downward. We always look for extra confirmation. So here uptrend, then price broke down, downtrend. So we are currently in a downtrend and we don't want to buy a bearish market, right? So price is currently, from a short-term perspective, making lower lows and lower highs, right? But since we are currently around a very strong area, as mentioned from daily and weekly, we are looking for buy setups. And if we zoom a little bit in, we can see that we can draw this trend line. So 1, 2, and 3, right? And let's make it as usual for our trigger trend line in red. We can also make an offset like this. So we have like a channel. If we zoom out, we can see it even clearer. And let me extend it. Here we go. So we are overall bearish from a short-term perspective. And however, we are sitting around a strong support. That's why we are looking for buy setups. And the buy setups would be confirmed, and the buyers would confirm that they are taking over when price breaks above this previous high, right? So until this happens, would be overall bearish from a short-term perspective. And as mentioned, Apple can still trade lower and lower till around this area, and it's an area starting from 105 till around 95. So this entire area will be looking for buy setups. So if we extend this one and this one, if price breaks this area downward, then a movement till this would be expected, and then we'll be buying on the previous swing high break upward. We can't really know, it doesn't have to be here, right? So price can still do like this and form the last swing high here and breaks it upward. But for now, as per the current market conditions, the last high is around here. Let me make this one lighter. So now the last high is here, and price can still, of course, form a new high here and then breaks it upward. In this case, we would update, let me fix it, we would update our previous high. But for now, let's take it step by step as usual. For now, as per the current market conditions, here's our last high, and we'll be waiting for a momentum candle close above it to confirm that the buyers are taking over again, as we are currently in a corrective movement. So impulse, corrective, we are looking to catch the next impulse. That's it for Apple. And of course, as usual, you know that
When the buy is activated, stop loss below the previous swing high. It depends. Price can still form a new swing high here. So it depends on the trigger and on the situation when the trigger happens. And we target a 2 to 1 risk to reward ratio, which would be around the upper brown trend line, which acts as a overbought area. That's it for Apple, and I'll see you on the next one.